tackling about the chapter 10, the Lumad presents Accumulation by Dispossession. For the first reporter, we have Regent Sally Bumba.
The Lumad present Accumulation by Dispossession. Carl Gaspar 2000 explored the plight of the Lumad, an indigenous group, showing how they have been historically marginalized. Their powerlessness stems from the colonial and neo-colonial political and economic systems. Gaspar argues that the deep-rooted social structures of inequality must be challenged to change this condition. He notes that despite the people power movement, indigenous people remain powerless due to the continued grip of neo-colonialism on political and economic systems. Theoretical lens accumulated by disposition. The global economic system extracts wealth from the poorer regions and enriches the West, leading to inequality. David Harvey, 2003, called this process new imperialism, where exists capital seeks new areas like Lumad lands for profit. Harvey, referencing Rosa Luxemburg, identified two capitalist crises. A. Underconsumption, not enough demand for goods. B. Overaccumulation, surplus capital with no profitable investment earned. This leads capitalists to exploit cheaper labor resources, pushing neo-colonial economic pressures on places like the Lumad territories. Of what Harvey calls as accumulation and disposition, there is an organic relation between expanded reproduction on the one hand and the often violent processes of disposition on the other. That is according to Harvey 2003. These new frontiers are open up for the free and unmitigated exploitation of steel and top resources in what is revealed to be a continuing process of contemporary primitive accumulation through disposition. It was of course by Karl Marx who first put forward the concept of primitive accumulation. It was the prediction that capitalism will violently transform social relations from one that is defined by patronage arrangements related to land to one that is predominantly characterized by an emancipated labor power dependent on wage labor. And lastly, this may be the reasons why primitive accumulation, a set of conditions that should have occurred in the transition from the feudal to industrial society 400 years ago. So therefore, it is curiously applicable to modern day realities, especially in countries like the Philippines that went through colonialism, as one scholar observed. And that will be all. Thank you so much.
The concept of primitive accumulation, first introduced by Karl Marx, refers to the processes of disposition and exploitation that occur in society's transition from feudalism to capitalism. However, in the context of global capitalism, this process has not been limited to the historical transition from feudalism to capitalism. Instead, primitive accumulation continues to shape the economies of countries like the Philippines, which have been subject to colonialism and imperialism. Primitive accumulation involves the force of opening of markets, disposition of assets, and exploitation of resources. This process is not limited to the historical transition from feudalism to capitalism, but continues to shape modern economies. Countries like Philippines, with a history of colonialism, are particularly vulnerable to primitive accumulation. The persistence of primitive accumulation highlights the complexities and nuisance of global capitalist development.
The Lumad are not just victims of displacement. They are victims of a much larger system. Global capitalism constantly looks for new resources, and indigenous lands are often seen as opportunities for profit, especially through mining and large-scale farming. This leads to violence and forced displacement, sadly meaning people ignore these bigger pictures and focus only on their culture or traditions. But the truth is, They are being attacked people, their land is vulnerable. The Philippines government is also involved because it allows or supports this project. That's why this issue is not just about culture, it's about economics, politics, and power.
That's all for today, and we hope that you learned something new.